Well, welcome to the really big interviews here on SharingSuccess.tv. I am Darren Jacklin. Thank you so much for joining me from around the world. My special guest today is LuAn Mitchell. She's an international speaker, author, trainer, motivator, a mother, and a philanthropist. LuAn, it's so great to have you here on the show today.
Thank you, Darren. What an honor and a privilege indeed.
Thank you. LuAn, let's share with the people around the world right now, let's backtrack in terms of where did you start your life growing up as a young woman?
Okay, well, when my life began, it was in rural Western Canada. My father was a school teacher. I'm the youngest of 5 children with an 18-plus year spread between the same parents, first child, and me. My mother and my sister had another sister, i.e. me, and also made my mother a grandmother at the same time. So it was an interesting life. By the time I was in junior high, my father and my mother were a little older than now. It would be typical, I suppose, in age with what's going on in the world with parents and when they're starting to have families with all the advanced technologies, etc. But in my case, it was not as usual as it is now. And my father, by the time I was in junior high, had Alzheimer's disease. And so he didn't know who I was, but he was still a brilliant mathematician, and he spoke 5 languages. And so I observed as a child an adult figure, really a guiding light in my life, my father, who was a loving fellow. Being able to speak 5 languages, do advanced mathematics, but not know who I was or who my mother or siblings were. And it was quite an awakening to a world that I wanted to contribute to and take a loving heart into, but also caused me some fear.
Mm-hmm. Then you grew up in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. You entered a contest, Miss Saskatoon contest.
Well, yeah, but that happened a little after. Take you a little moment forward to that. When I grew up again in rural province, town sites. So Saskatoon, this city, if people look it up, it's absolutely beautiful. They call it the city of bridges. But it was really a big city to me, almost as big in my mind as New York or Los Angeles, coming from small towns, really rural. I mean, my nickname was Ellie Mae. And from the country bumpkin on the Beverly Hillbillies show, and that's because I wore overalls and plaid shirts, and I was a country bumpkin. I was a competitive gymnast and a cheerleader, but very athletic, but not sophisticated. Didn't wear makeup, didn't sort of have the who's who look. Certainly didn't do the college scene. So when I moved to Saskatoon, which to me again was a big city, maybe at that point around 200,000 people, from small towns anywhere between 2005 population up to maybe 10,000. It was massive. I mean, city buses, etc. I had never seen such a thing. So when I went there, I had a great deal of new introductions. I'd never seen girls in gangs or gangs, period. And there were gangs at my school and different activities that I really didn't understand. And again, my father was stricken with Alzheimer's. My mother was his caregiver. And they wanted to be closer to their grandchildren and their children. And so that's why we moved to the city. So it was a confusing time for me. And there was a bit of reluctance to surrender to change.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And you've been through a lot of change in your personal and your professional life for where you're at now from where you started many years ago.
Check out the really big interviews hosted by Darren Jacklin. Visit SharingSuccess.tv to learn from experts and leaders from around the world.